few years ago, YBN looked like it was going to be the next rap crew to make it to the top of the game, but management issues and internal beef destroyed the group and led to YBN Nahmir and Almighty J almost throwing hands. This is the wild story of the death of YBN. Everything started back when YBN Nahmir and Almighty J linked up through GTA on Xbox Live. At first, they were just gaming together with a bunch of other friends. Nahmir and Jay would freestyle for everybody while they was playing, and eventually, they decided to record a track together called Hood Mentality. Nahmir and Jay didn't like each other at first, and the real first song Nahmir ever recorded was a diss track against Jay. Jay clapped back the next day with a response track, and both of them realized they had a lot of respect for each other. Hood Mentality didn't pick up any traction online, but Nahmir and Jay kept releasing music over the next couple of years. Cordae was also hanging out with them too, but at the time, he wasn't really focused on music yet. He had dropped a few mixtapes under the name Entendre, but it wasn't until 2018 that he went all in and changed his name to YBN Cordae. For 2 years after Hood Mentality, YBN was still just a group of kids who played video games together and rapped as a hobby. But in 2017, Nahmir dropped the track Rubbing Off the Paint, and everything changed. Nahmir posted a track one day in September 2017, and when he woke up the next morning, it had already racked up over 50,000 views. And then Worldstar Hip Hop posted a video a few days later, and the track went viral. Nahmir and Jay had been dropping music for a couple years without picking up any momentum, but Rubbing Off the Paint blew up overnight and put YBN on the map. Nahmir's fame went crazy so fast that he had to drop out of school and start taking online classes, and YBN went from a gaming crew to a legit rap collective instantly. With the racks he made off Rubbing Off the Paint, Nahmir moved to LA and paid for a bunch of other dudes from YBN to go out too. Cordae started hanging out with them in LA, and in May 2018, he dropped a remix of Eminem's track My Name Is as his debut single. Cordae popped off out the gate, and later that month, he performed his first show ever with Nahmir and Jay at Rollin' Loud. Having your first show at one of the biggest festivals in the world is crazy, but Cordae rocked the set and proved he was ready for the big leagues. And with Jay popping off with tracks like Chopsticks 2, YBN looked like they was gonna be superstars. Nahmir got into XXL's 2018 freshman class, and he brought Cordae and Jay out with them to perform at the XXL freshman show in New York. 2018 was a wild year for the crew. Cordae joined Juice WRLD's tour while he worked on a solo project, and later that year, YBN went on their first tour together and dropped YBN The Mixtape. After Nahmir popped off with Rubbing Off the Paint, it didn't take long for Jay and Cordae to start making major moves too. Within a couple of years, they had gone from rapping as a hobby to going on international tours and racking up millions of views on their videos. By the end of 2018, everyone thought it was only a matter of time before they took over the whole game. But unfortunately, it didn't take long for it all to come crashing down. 2019 was an even bigger year for Cordae. He dropped his debut album, The Lost Boy, and was part of XXL's 2019 freshman class. The Lost Boy debuted at number 13 on the Billboard 200, and critics were rocking with it too. The album earned him 2 Grammy nominations, and in November 2019, Cordae announced his first solo tour. While Cordae was taking his career to the next level, the rest of YBN got left in the dust. Nahmir was dropping music too, but it seemed like nobody was paying attention anymore. And in March 2019, Almighty J was almost killed during a robbery in New York. Sources told TMZ that Jay was jumped by a bunch of goons in the lobby of a building in Manhattan around midnight. He tried to run out the building, and that's when they dragged him back in and started doing serious damage. They stomped him out and snatched his chains while one of the goons was stabbing him. Then someone broke a bottle of Hennessy on Jay's head and sliced up his face. Jay was rushed to the hospital for treatment, and luckily, he had an OG in the game looking out for him. He was signed to Jay Prince's Rap-A-Lot label, and Prince hopped online to get his chain back for him. Jay Prince wrote on IG, "Mob ties called him my real street around the world, but especially on the East Coast and the Bronx. There's a clown by the name of Zay and his crew who want to become famous by bragging about robbing rap industry that recently brags about robbing the artist YBN Almighty J, whom I'm invested in. They've robbed him of his money and jewelry, including a Rap-A-Lot piece. So therefore, they have robbed a piece of me." A rapper named Zay No. 5 posted a clip from a music video where someone was holding up Jay's chain a couple days after the robbery. But after Jay Prince got involved, he denied having the chain. Zay hopped on his IG stories and said, "I don't have YBN chain. His manager trying to make it seem like we going around just robbing people. He don't even know how the situation escalated, but I don't have that chain." Zay also claimed that his people didn't cut Jay and that they're not just a bunch of goons. But a couple days later, Him and 4 other dudes were hit with attempted murder charges for allegedly shooting an off-duty cop. Jay Prince eventually got Jay's chain back, and Jay turned the situation around and dropped the track Let Me Breathe. He talks about the robbery on the song and told Genius, I ain't gonna lie, I was laughing about it, but it's like, what do? We don't do nothing and act weak. Or I'm like, F it, this how I get paid. I'm about to drop a song with the stitches in my face cause everybody wanna see him. I made the choice to shoot the video. It's not like I was crying about it. By 2020, Cordae was popping off in the industry and headlining his own tour, but the YBN collective wasn't making waves anymore. And in August 2020, Nahmir tweeted, they left this YBN shit in the gutter. Remember that, I'll turn it up myself. Cordae dropped the YBN in front of his name, but he told Tidal,
Nahmir and Jay, like those are always gonna be my brothers. You know what I'm saying? In real life, like those are my brothers. Like I think the world of them cats. You know what I'm saying? And you know, sometimes as friends, you grow apart and you have like different visions for what you want to do, and that's okay. Because it's no love lost. Like I said, I think the world of them niggas. You know what I'm saying? I love Nahmir and Jay to death.
Cordae also told Genius that somebody else owned the YBN trademark, and that I can't be talking to kids about ownership when we're pushing this brand that we don't even own. Obviously, it goes with saying, it ain't nothing against Nahmir and Jay. Before I came to the conclusion that I was gonna drop the 3 letters, I called Nahmir and I asked for his blessing. Cordae was still moving up in the rap game, but the situation was obviously getting to Nahmir. In November 2020, he hopped on Twitter and said, after my album, I really just want to be done. Tired of fake teams, weak ass conflict of interest, everything. I'm gonna give y'all the best music ever, then I'm gone. Nahmir is also getting clowned online for promoting sketchy wealth building courses on IG. He clapped back at fans and claimed he was getting paid $5K for every post. Then in 2021, Nahmir started promoting his debut album, and it seemed like he felt better about the YBN situation. He was spreading love for Cordae and Jay in interviews and told GQ, hell yeah, it's still a group. If I go on tour and I ask Cordae to come on tour with me, he'll come on tour, and it's gonna be a YBN tour. He don't have to have that YBN shit in front of his name, but YBN is a family. Nahmir also claimed that it was people on the outside who caused all the static in the crew, and Jay was saying the same thing on social media. He aired out their manager James McMillan on IG and wrote, this James McMillan is a fraud. He signed to janky deals and f him over. Nobody know nothing about the shit we go through on a daily basis being signed to this cause we cover for this ass. I'm done with this shit. Then, trademarking the YBN name behind backs, assigned me a lawyer he used to be engaged to without telling me, shaking my head. Took advantage of some kids, bro. Fans thought the YBN crew was on the same page again. But then a couple months later, Nahmir and Jay started sending shots back and forth on social media. Apparently, they was having issues behind the scenes, and Jay posted a video where he said,
so like 2 years ago, like December, November, one of them, an incident ended up like occurring, like with some niggas I used to be cool with. They end up doing something, and Nahmir end up like getting caught up in it somehow, like what they end up doing. Mind you, I ain't cool with the niggas no more that the incident had happened. I end up paying $30,000 and Nahmir end up paying 10. A couple months go by after the incident, or a month or so go by. Me and him ain't talked, none of that.
According to rumors, Nahmir wanted Jay to give him the $10K he paid out. It's not clear exactly what went down, but eventually, they got so heated over it, they tried to set up a celebrity boxing match. Jay said, I might as well get paid to beat his ass. Then Nahmir took it a step further when he referenced the night Jay got robbed and said, I've been trying to beat your ass. When y'all see Cuz hurt with all them black guys, ain't hit Cuz with bottles this time. Nahmir bringing up the night Jay almost died shocked a lot of fans, and most people thought they was gonna throw hands for sure. But the boxing match never went down. The situation cooled off after a while, and they both went back to their career, but nothing they've dropped since 2018 has really made an impact. Cordae kept it pushing and dropped his second album back in January. Every new song he releases racks up millions of plays, and now he's working with some of the biggest artists in the world like Lil Wayne, Eminem, and even Stevie Wonder. Linking up with Nahmir and Jay definitely helped him get started, but Cordae took his career to the next level while the rest of YBN got caught up in petty drama and fell out of the spotlight. Nahmir and Jay are still dropping new music, but they never leveled up their style like Cordae, and it seems like their audience just moved on. If they had stuck together after they blew up, there's a good chance they'd be at the top of the game right next to Cordae. But instead, they let beef get in the way, and the YBN movement died as quickly as it started.